What's up, YouTube? Finna kick out some game real quick. Just a little bit of game. A little bit of free game. I feel like it's a must. A must for me to kick out a little bit of free game. Just a little bit. Because, you know, everybody ain't self-aware. Everybody ain't in tune with being accountable for their mistakes. Everybody not learning the lessons from their behavior. And then, of course, everybody can't take a straightening. And it's just how it is. Isis, what's up? You know, we all, based on how you raised, how you behave as an adult has to do with your beliefs, right? And you get your beliefs from how you was raised. And like I was just saying, everybody doesn't have a same level of self-awareness, meaning I am consciously familiar with my patterns or, you know, accountable for my mistakes, or I'm able to articulate, not just spot them, but articulate back and use them, lessons I've learned from things that's going on in my life. And then everybody can't take a straightening. We know that. So I feel like, you know, this little free game will help y'all on this live. And don't forget to subscribe, like, share, ring the bell so you can get the notifications, especially if you coming off here off IG. You want to make sure the next time you don't have to wait for the notification to show up on Instagram for you to know what's going on YouTube. But I want to share with y'all from a genuine space, like how you create a sense of peace mentally, right? And this goes for male, female, young, old. Like when we talk about the idea of me cleaning up my mental space, making it where as a person, before I mix with anybody else, before I tell a female outside of me or a male outside of me to be my peace, right? Before I do any of that, can I create peace for myself? Because a lot of people don't realize the demons they fight and the peace that they cannot acquire, the shit that's going on with them, it's coming from them. Like it's coming from internal stuff. And you're thinking, you know, because the things around you, your environment make you feel some type of way or even feel at all negative or positive, you believe the cause is that stuff. But really, it starts with, can you even quiet your own thoughts? Can you create a space of peace for yourself? Are you good with yourself? First off, like, can you say that without being attached to another individual, outside of family, outside of what you know, past survival, can you say, you know what, I'm good with me? Not satisfied to the point where I'm not trying to grow or create goals or elevate or anything like that. But am I okay with me? Am I aware enough of my own self, my inner, the way that I think, my beliefs, my integrity, my values, my ethics? Am I aware of this shit enough to say that, you know what, I fuck with me? And because I fuck with me, I'm at peace with just being me. I can sit with myself. So if I go through a breakup, if I lose a job, if I got money, if I don't got money, if I got a bunch of friends, if I don't got a bunch of friends, if I'm up or if I'm down, can I say that I'm satisfied with myself enough to keep going? Am I going to get suicidal? Am I going to get into a deep depression? Am I going to get so attached to outside things, right, as the focus to where I ain't good with sitting with me, so I can't really be alone? Am I good enough to say that I deserve not to just be isolated and be alone? Because it is negative for the human mind. See, a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, me being single or me being by myself or me not fucking with a lot of people and being all right with that is healthy. It's good. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It is something wrong with it. If this is what you've told yourself is going to be your long-term situation, there is very much a lot of hurt, demons, unhealed trauma in that, as it is in people that are attaching themselves and people pleasing all of their life or for a long season of their life. All of that requires healing. So I'm gonna go back to what I was saying, right? What I want to share with y'all is the actual instructions on how to create peace for yourself. And just to understand the concept and that it works and that it's powerful and that it's real and that if you do it, move on it without a doubt, it'll work for you, male, female, young, old, regardless of your background, right? In order for it to work, you got to understand where we get our bullshit from, right? And you got to be real with yourself. Like, I'm going to be honest, regardless of what my culture tells me to feel about certain things that have went on with me, I'm gonna look at it for what it is, right? So there's a certain realness that's required in order to create mental peace for yourself, in order to create a space of my aura is good, my light is shining, like I got that inner heartbeat, but also that second one that's coming from another dimension of me existing outside of just my physical, right? And some of y'all that's going over your head, but I'm gonna bring it down real simple. And anybody that's in my book club that's on here, if you've gotten this far in the book that we're reading, then you know what I'm talking about. And we're gonna be discussing it soon. So if you don't fully know, you're gonna get a little bit on here, and then we're gonna dive fully in. But I want to read y'all something, right? Because I know a lot of y'all don't fucking read. So I'm gonna just read to y'all. It says, children who are hurt by their parents will usually blame themselves. It says this is actually a very clever survival adaptation that keeps the bond with our parents strong, right? So the point of this is so that you can keep the bond with your parents strong. Why? Why do I, as a child, want to keep the bond with my parents strong? Because we need them to keep us alive. Our mind doesn't want to think of them as being bad because it's survival. This means that when we are treated badly, we assume it's our fault, that we are bad. Because thinking of our parents as bad is far too frightening for our survival. If you're a child, if you're dependent upon your parents, right, for your shelter, your food, your water, for you to be in a space where you feel safety, where you feel like there's a future, where you feel like you will continue to exist, you have to look at them. It is a must, right? As an adolescent, as a dependent, as a child, it is a must that you view them as a safe space. This is why children are innocent, because if you understand this psychological part, this scientific part, this natural part of this, right, they don't have a choice but to believe that these people are good for them, even while doing them wrong. They just make it where they take the blame for the stuff that's happening to them. And so if you're an adult, you got to take yourself back to when you were a child, right? It says we need them to be good in order to feel safe. The we is I'm talking about is our parents, right? It says instead we make it a story about ourselves rather than them. So there are certain things that have happened to all of us, because this happens on autopilot. You don't recognize when this is going on. There are things that have happened to all of us as a child, some more traumatic than others. Some are those ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences that have put us in a space where, we have suppressed or created a false reality. Right? And this is just a part of survival. It says, instead, we make it a story about ourselves rather than them. It says, this way we keep the illusion that we're in control, and we believe that if we behave better next time, we'll be loved. This is why a lot of adults have the mommy issues or the daddy issues. They have the parent complexes. A lot of individuals that were raised by emotionally immature parents or narcissistic parents. And nowadays we're seeing a rise, especially in our community, of narcissistic black mothers, right? And this projection of, my choices and the consequences, I'm going to project them onto your father so that we create a sense of invaluable. The male figure in the upbringing of the child becomes an invaluable person or an invaluable figure, right? So it says this way, we keep the illusion that we're in control, and we believe that if we behave better next time, we'll be loved. It says that means all our anger and hurt gets turned on ourselves. This means, right, we think we aren't good enough, and we become very critical. No one, as adults, right, we develop this space where these are suppressed thoughts that you don't realize are there. As adults, we might think that we're stupid, that no one likes us, that we're always feeling guilty about something. Now, no one's just going to tell you, these are the thoughts that I feel, this is where I got them from. There are certain patterns in their adult behavior that's going to show you that's how I feel. So when you see people that are people pleasing, when you see people that are seeking validation, when you see people that they feel the need to get a reassurance from their environment around them or the public or social media in order for them to, be confident or sound within themselves or decisions they make, and they got these same internal beliefs, right? They can't articulate them, but you can see it in their behavior. It says this happens outside of our awareness, right? Meaning you're not aware that this is going on. It says you won't know that you're doing it, but often our critical inner voice comes from the unconscious belief that we are bad so that we can maintain the belief that our parents are good. Right? And so then as an adult, some of the same bad behavior, bad parenting that you underwent as a child, you repeat it, right? Because you have this belief, you have this survival coping mechanism, this strategy that you use, which is quite clever when you're a child. It's just not a thing of fruitfulness as an adult, but you have this idea that my parents are mostly good. I'm obligated to believe this in order to really feel like I got the right upbringing or I have a solid support system behind me. And so you repeat the things that they did, even though they negatively affected you, on your children, right? It then says, we carry the idea that we are bad into our adult life, and it underpins much of our capacity to love ourselves. We don't feel capable in our studies or at work, or put to huge pressure, right? Or we put huge pressure on ourselves. It says we imagine that our friends hate us, or our partner secretly thinks we're ugly. We might always think that people are angry at us, or that we're going to get in trouble with certain things that we feel or think in regards to our bodies, in regards to our minds. It says we are waiting for everyone else to realize the thing we are so sure of, that we are awful people. And this is why when you get in relationships, it's easy to develop these general beliefs, this black and white thinking, which a lot of people have, that, for example, women ain't shit, or men ain't shit, or people gonna backstab you eventually, or nobody's gonna really be loyal, or real people are scarce, or it's hard to find true love, or we're easily persuaded into this way of thinking because of our internal beliefs about ourselves, and you just don't realize it, right? So it says reassurance from others does not help. Even positive affirmations don't really change the way we feel about ourselves, because the feelings are not about us. They are about the caregivers who hurt us. We need to find a way to feel those feelings toward the people who hurt us. We don't turn that anger and hatred on ourselves. This is so that we don't do that, right? The solution, this is the key part. The solution is to turn those feelings back onto the people they belong to, the ones that hurt us. And so when you think about this in your adult life, it's easy to flip off the handle, right? And lay out all of the things you did to hurt me to someone that you met in your adult life through an intimate relationship or a friendship, right? As soon as you're going through some shit with them, and the emotions from childhood become one and the same, meaning it's the same feelings, different situations, you react in a way of lack of emotional maturity for the present and the past, and you don't realize it. And this is why some of y'all, you struggle with emotional management. This is why some of y'all, you have these anger outbursts. You have these moments where you go in your head and you conspire about certain shit that's going on. This is why you live in this, oh, my intuition told me this, but really it's your crazy, and the crazy comes from the demons that's sitting on you, the baggage from childhood, the beliefs you have about self that you're unwilling to confront, not because you don't want to and you don't want to heal, but because in order for you to actually confront the shit, you have to look at the people that were your caregivers, those that raised you, for what they really are. And this is why when y'all see me on social media, when you see my content, traveling around, when you see me on podcasts, getting interviewed, I always speak about childhood trauma. I always speak about understanding what you were taught in your upbringing. There's a lot of things that people don't even understand is trauma or programming of bad beliefs, right? That they still carry with them in their adult life that causes them to attract what they attract. Some of y'all don't realize, no, you didn't have to be trigger warning, molested, violated, verbally abused, physically abused. You could have just been all out taught the wrong shit in key areas in your life. So without ever being touched the wrong way, physically hit the wrong way, screamed or yelled at, right? You could have been given beliefs in regards to life and people that are just not fruitful. They do not produce healthy relationships. They do not create a space of growth, right? And so you grown with these beliefs. And no, you don't have some grave trauma story of being touched on or molested or violated, but you have these beliefs that are fucked up. Some of them are self-absorbed. Some of them are from a space of not being in reality. Some of them are narcissistic. Some of them are people-pleasing. Some of them are lack of self-awareness, right? Because some people were raised by parents that it wasn't that I was taken through any serious trauma, but my parents were not aware that other people had a view or a perspective or an experience in the same situations as them that differed. So I didn't get my ass beat. I didn't get molested. I didn't get, put down verbally, right? But in most situations, we had to view it how our parents viewed it. And so now that I'm grown, I don't know how to articulate or express things from a mature space. I go into it already on 10 or with an attitude, because guess what? From my upbringing, I wasn't allowed to do this. So now I am projecting onto you feelings from childhood to where when it comes out how I feel about a situation, it already come out with an attitude before you even disagree. I'm already saying my opinion to you as if you disagree with me, and you have not. Who can relate? Because I know some of y'all can. This is stuff that a lot of times you don't realize. See, when I talk about childhood trauma or, you know, those ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences, you don't think of things like this as adverse because, again, as a child, right, we go in a space where I cannot, while I'm a dependent, look at these people as bad because they're the only ones that I'm able to depend upon. That is why a lot of times when you see children that are in spaces where they have these real thoughts and real views of their parents doing them wrong, they want to get the fuck out of there because I cannot exist in this space of realness while being up under them as a dependent. I can't. So now I'm running away. Now I feel like I got to hurry up and grow up to get out of this house. You know, I can't wait till I turn 16, 17. I can't wait till I'm 18. I'm going to go get my own place. Right? You're rushing now to get to adulthood, not because I'm just trying to hurry up and grow up, but I peep certain shit, right? That it doesn't sit right in my mind in regards to me actually surviving as a little human. So I feel like I got to get out from under these people. Or you're going to have to use the coping mechanism of just looking at everything they do, right, as something that is right and that maybe you are bad and you need to be a better child. It's a lot of y'all saying that y'all can relate. And see, before you can create a sense of peace for yourself as an adult, you have to understand this type of stuff and you have to be comfortable, right? You have to be okay with saying out loud to you. This is not about going to check your parents or trying to make them understand what I'm explaining to y'all. It's about you understanding it and then you sitting with yourself and saying, you know what? Outside of the love and the care I have for my mom, outside of the respect and the care and the love I have for my father or my parents, what the fuck did they show, teach, do in front of me, expose me to that is not right, that I do not need to carry with me in my adult life, that was not okay? Whether I was a child or whether I'm still replaying it now, what are the things that they did not do correctly? This is how you grow. If you don't do this, you cannot grow. You will constantly be in a space where you are judging yourself while projecting onto other people that they're judging you. Anybody ever been around somebody and you try to offer them constructive criticism, right? You try to give them a space of, listen, I see what you're going through. Here's my advice for what it's worth. Maybe you asked me, maybe you didn't ask me, but I care. And that's why I'm saying it. And they take offense. They take offense. They say you're judging them. They feel some type of way. It was never meant to be that. You didn't even, care to focus your energy on them in a negative light. It was all about, trying to lace them up with some game. Newsflash to some of y'all, you've been through this and the person has taken offense. They cannot receive it because they don't have their own sense of peace. Before you got involved, they were not at peace with themselves. And so they can't receive shit you saying. Now, newsflash to some of y'all, you in relationships with people like that. Some of y'all laid up, you sleeping next to, you in a household, you trying to build a family with, you pregnant from, you done got somebody pregnant, that this is their character right now. This is what they're going through personality-wise. And so it doesn't matter how gentle you say it. Doesn't matter how feminine you try to come off. Doesn't matter how respectful you try to be. They're going to take it as harsh. They're going to take it as you being some type of way. They're going to take it as you judging them. They're going to take it as, why are you saying this to me? Why is this your business? Well, what about you? And then it turns into an argument because then they start to point out your flaws because they perceive what you're saying as a display or a presentation of you pointing out what's wrong with them. But that is because in their mind, right, there is trauma, there is baggage, there are unresolved, unnecessary beliefs that they have about themselves that they don't realize. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing about creating a space of peace for yourself, right? You got to understand disrespect, right? Disrespect interrupts peace. Somebody type that on here. Disrespect interrupts peace. For sure. Male, female, young, old, being disrespected, sitting in disrespect, experiencing disrespect interrupts peace. Thank you, KT. Disrespect interrupts peace, right? So now if you understand this, you want to create an environment, a space where I am interacting with people, family, friends, lovers, whoever, that have a sense of respect for one another, right? Now, here's the tricky part about that. You have to receive the shit as disrespect. Your perspective or your view has to look at it as disrespect in order for it to actually be disrespect. What I mean by that is, depending on your mindset, the way you think, your traumas, your adverse childhood experiences, your early life experiences, based on your choices, what season you in your life right now, what you going through physically, mentally, emotionally, it determines what you call disrespect. This is what people do not talk about. Everybody can agree with the first statement. Disrespect interrupts peace. But now when we start talking about your mindset is what determines what is disrespectful and what is not. Your lifestyle determines what is disrespectful and what is not. Because if you know like I know, right? You've been in seasons of your life where certain shit was taken in offense, right? I done been in a season of my life where people done said and did certain shit and that shit bothered me. I took offense. It was disrespectful, right? And I felt the need to address it, say something. And the times that I didn't, I went home and I carried with me the feelings, right? Of feeling disrespected or feeling some type of way, right? So now these same things have occurred in my life in a season where I was in a different space. And that same shit did nothing to me. Those same words that once bothered me, the same, behavior, I now view it completely same behavior. Different people. Sometimes it was the same people. It don't make me none. I don't feel disrespected. You ain't doing shit to me. Know why? Because I'm in a space in my life where now I understand those behaviors, those words, those things that you were doing, right? You're just being you. And for me to take offense on you or on you just being you, I ain't real. I ain't real. To be real, I got to expect and be okay with people being what they really are. Right? So if you a liar, right? And this is what you do. I don't give a fuck why you lied. If that's what you are, you ain't disrespecting me by being you. I have the ability to set boundaries to where I don't have to experience this, right? But I ain't gonna get offended. I'm not gonna go on a rant. I'm not gonna, oh, you disrespected me when this is how you behave. If you ratchet, if you don't have no home training, if you in a space where you don't know how to carry yourself in a classy manner or a mature manner, or you a low life, you don't know how to operate in a space of give or take or not using people or not coming off as messy or backstabbing, right? In a old season, a different version of myself, yes, that was real disrespectful. You done motherfucking tried me. I should go in your shit, right? Yes. Catch me back then, 100%. Catch me now, I don't give a damn because you ain't finna come around me with that shit. I won't answer the phone for you, right? You will be blocked or that bitch will ring. I won't come in your vicinity. You will not be able to show up in this good energy with that energy that is you. I'm not gonna fault you for being you. Just no thank you. No thank you. No thank you. No is a complete sentence. Not for me. You're fully able to be you. I'm not judging you. I'm not telling you to stop being a liar. I'm not telling you to stop being a cheat. I'm not telling you to stop being ratchet. I'm not telling you to stop being messy or backstabbing. Be you. Do you, baby. Keep that shit how you want to keep that shit. But guess what? There are standards and guidelines in being in this room with me. So the same shit, right, that was once disrespect, it ain't no more. And see, when you understand this, you realize a flip of my mindset, my peace, my viewpoint of things is all tied together. My mindset, how I choose to view shit, my perspective from my corner of the room on the same situation that other people are experiencing. See, a lot of y'all problem be, right? You believe that you have to get the other person, right, to accept your view. Watch this. You believe that you have to get the other person to accept your view. It's nothing wrong with getting them to hear your view, even understand your view. But we can agree to disagree to where you don't accept that this is the best option for us or for you to look at the situation from, right? And so when you get this mature, you realize this shit is tied to my peace. Me being able to sit up here and explain to y'all my perspective as to why I view the situation the way I do, and then being okay with you hearing me out, right? And then you saying after you hear me out that you still don't give a fuck about what I said, right? This is where my peace starts. It starts with me being able to say, you know what? They're allowed to feel like that. You allowed to lay out your view, love. You allowed to tell them how you saw the situation and how it made you feel and why you came up with it. You are allowed to lay out your facts. And when you done, they allowed to say, fuck you. I still don't agree, bitch. And you're still a bitch to me. They are, right? And my peace lies in the idea that I know I'm able to leave at this point. Or I can stay. It's up to me. They ain't doing shit to me. They being themselves. They're allowed to have their perspective. A lot of y'all don't realize this. So you're in relationships right now trying to force acceptance of your perspective onto the other person. You in friendships right now. You're trying to force that girl to fucking accept the way that you view shit. You in a circle of homeboys. You trying to force them niggas to see the shit your way. Some of y'all, you in co-parenting situation. You trying to make your baby daddy see the shit the way you see it. Some of y'all, you trying to make you done sent your baby mama 100 text messages, nigga. She don't agree. And the beauty about life is she has the right not to. She don't receive your perspective. Some people will listen, understand, receive it, agree, change how they were looking at it at first, and some will not at all do none of that. None of that. This is the part where y'all lose the concept that you're in control of your peace and you swear that everybody getting on your nerves or motherfuckers be trying you or you just going through stuff or God give his strongest battles or his worst battles or his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So now you done told yourself you a soldier in the army of the Lord in some sort of war, or so now you in a jihad. You in some sort of holy war, right? But in all reality, you're just not self-aware. You are not real with yourself about how the world works. And this is where your peace lies. It lies in the idea that the same way you are able to hold your own beliefs and views and feelings and perspectives and perception, so is everybody else. So is everybody else. When you realize this is when you start to learn how to set boundaries and respect other people's boundaries. This is when you learn how to look at what is valuable to you. What are your values, right? What is integrity? What is ethics? What does it mean to have honor and loyalty, right? And this is when you move, behave, act, make decisions based on that. And you're okay with if people around you aren't okay. And if they drop off. It's some of y'all, you bitter because of who you lost along the way. I'm going to say that again. Some of y'all, you bitter because of who you lost along the way. Relationships that didn't work out. Friendships that didn't work out. Arguments that you perceive that you lost because you couldn't get the other person to accept your perspective or your view or your feelings. This is one of the things we're supposed to be taught in our upbringing. That's why before I even got this far, I read y'all something that has to do with childhood. Because a lot of y'all don't understand this from an adult space because the adults that raised you had you believing that every bit of their perspective, every time conflict or tough situations came up, that everybody that rolled with them, everybody that live in their house, everybody that's riding with them, everybody that they buy clothes for, everybody that they feed, better view this shit how they view this shit. I'm going to say this shit again. There's a lot of y'all, you was raised where everybody that rolled with mama, everybody that live with mama, everybody that mama feed, everybody that mama clothed, everybody that mama taking care of, bitch, you better believe what the fuck she believe. I don't give a damn what your own mind telling you. You better ride with what mama say, right? Or you're not a good child. You're not a good person. You doing that to your mama? Boy, that's your mama. I don't give a damn what she said to you, girl. That's your mama. Y'all don't understand that's y'all mama? Y'all don't understand what she sacrificed? Fuck that. She did shit that's fucking tearing us the fuck down. You just got to accept that that's your mama and take on her viewpoint, right? So now watch this. Fast forward. You in relationships and that nigga that rode with you, that bitch that rode with you, that female that lived with you, that man that lived with you, them kids that you taking care of, you doing the same shit to them. They got to accept your viewpoint. They have to agree with your perspective or you get nasty. You get an attitude. They don't even have an identity outside of you when they're in your presence, right? And this is why a lot of these kids get older. A lot of us got older and we realized, I want to get the fuck out this house. Even while being told, listen, it's tough out here now. You doing all that shit about moving out your mama's house now. You move out and your ass gonna have to get a job. It's bills out here. And everybody like, motherfucker, bring on the bills. Bring them bitches on. Get me the fuck up out of here because I can't even think for myself. I can't feel, I can't have an opinion, a perspective, a viewpoint outside of hers, or it's disloyal, it's disrespectful. If I say how I feel, or I point out what is fact from what I seen with my eyes, and it doesn't match what she says is fact from her viewpoint, or dad don't see this as fact from his viewpoint, now I'm disrespectful. Ooh, look how they teaching you these beliefs about what disrespect is, when in all reality, somebody having their own perspective of the same situation that you was involved in and they was involved in is not disrespect. That's just being two different people. But guess what? Programmed in your subconscious mind is a belief that that is disloyal and it is disrespectful. And how dare you have a difference of viewpoint from somebody that let you borrow some money? I want to know, is this really clicking? Is it clicking for y'all? Because I'm giving y'all the route, the roadmap, y'all be saying, here's the solution. This is the solution to creating a sense of peace in your mind. Sierra is clicking. A lot of y'all are a grown version, a spinoff of your parents. Not because you look exactly like them, not because you want to be like them, not because you told yourself like, this is what I want for me. You them because of the beliefs. We don't have to be raised in the same household. All I got to do is instill my beliefs about life and how to deal with people into your mind. Okay. You me. You every bit of me. And so some of y'all in the physical, you don't look like your parents. You carry yourself different. You might even eat different. You try to talk different, maybe a little bit more proper than them. Or maybe you a little bit more hood than your parents. You don't work where they work. Maybe your parents work in physical labor jobs and you work in corporate America. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and they worked at the local grocery store all their life. Maybe you got a Benz and they drove a Toyota all their life. Like, regardless of what the physical look like, if they got your ass with them same beliefs, that's what controls your behavior. Your conscious thoughts mean nothing in regards to changing habitual behavior when the motherfucking beliefs don't align. This is why a lot of y'all in the conscious mind can learn new information, like I'm sitting on here telling y'all some new shit. But if you don't repetitiously tell yourself these same philosophies that I'm kicking on this motherfucker, you're going to go right back after hearing all this shit to what you've been doing. If you cannot understand that my peace is tied to accepting the fact that everybody is different, they have their own mind, they have their own set of beliefs, they have their own feelings, they are allowed to disagree. They are able, right, to be involved in the same situation as me and view it different. Some of y'all, this is why you're so angry. You're so angry. Some of y'all, you started off when you first seen my content, you were angry with me. You seen my content, and because the things that I was saying was a different perspective than what you had on certain situations, it was like, here she go again with that bullshit. Here she go again with that single mothers produce the worst product. Here she go again with the culture need to change. Here she go again with that accountability shit, right? And it bothered you. It sounded disrespectful, right? You took it in offense because of the way your mindset is set up. You don't realize that, listen, the viewpoint I have, right? I have that based on my beliefs. If as an adult, I didn't spend any season of my life working on shaping and molding my beliefs from me understanding how the world works, these ain't my beliefs. This ain't even my perspective. It's a generational curse. For some of y'all, it's a slave mentality. For some of y'all, it's the same mentality your parents or your family has. And if there's no values that lie in that, if there is no sense of building anything, if there is no growth, right? And y'all know what I mean. You know when you grown and your family ain't got shit. Meaning, what the fuck is the point of taking a bunch of philosophies from a group of people that did not build anything? What is the point of taking a bunch of game, right? Put it in even more like, what's the point of taking a bunch of rules or things that you're supposed to do from somebody or a group of people or a culture that is making no forward progress, has nothing built, right? Nothing of value to give. And some of y'all, you really got to be real with yourself. When I'm saying nothing of value, I mean just that. Nothing of fucking value. Some of y'all down to the recipes that y'all cooking y'allself and y'all children is poison. High blood pressure, is diabetes, is gout, is heart disease, It's thyroid problem. This is what they handed you in the recipes. Trash. The parenting styles. You ain't even whole enough to pick the right type of mate. You've been fucking and sucking or dropping your semen off in demons, right? You ain't got nobody in your past that you really value the interaction with them early on because you was picking wrong. Trash. In whatever beliefs they gave you that have you attracted to what you're attracted to. The environment they exposed you to. It got you killing your own kind. You attracted to killing motherfuckers that look like you. You in a space where financial literacy and building wealth, assets versus liability. You don't have no real values, philosophies, information that built anything for your family. And this is why you ain't building nothing for yourself. And I can go into all kind of areas. Mental health. You ain't been shown no real. Soon as y'all start saying y'all gonna go to therapy and shit like that, y'all mamas and shit be getting mad. I did a video 2 Father Days ago, right? So 2 years ago on Father's Day, I did a video where I explained this is how you can tell if your mama real or not, right? In regards to your upbringing. And this is along the lines of the topic of deadbeat baby daddies, parental alienation, all that good stuff, right? And I'm saying good stuff because it's a topic that needs to be talked about more. So I made a video and this was my homework to the people on the video. Whether you're a teenager or a grown adult, right? Express to your mother, if you came from a single parent household, usually it's a female, grandmother, auntie, whoever raised you, right? Even if it's a man, same concept, right? Go to them and just tell them, when I get a chance, I want to ask my other parent about what happened. When I get a chance, I want to talk to my daddy and get his side and his viewpoint on what happened and why he was or wasn't there, or why the relationship was the way it was, or why I got what I got or didn't get what I didn't get from him or her, right? This was my homework, right? And so when you go say this to them, a good majority is going to try to tell you the answer themselves because they don't want you to go speak to that person, because a good majority of what they've been feeding you is lies or just their emotional perspective. Meaning, the same shit I was saying in the beginning of this video, they need you to accept only their viewpoint of the situation. Now, a real one gonna encourage you to do that. Without ever talking about how they want you to feel, they're gonna say, that's good. I think that'll help you. And they will encourage you. You will feel confident about going and speaking to your father. But I guarantee it's a lot of y'all, you go say this to your grandma or your mama, she gonna cuss you the fuck out. What you want to talk to that bitch for? That nigga ain't shit. I don't get out my motherfucking house talking about you want to talk to him and I'm the one that raised. Every bit of them, right? The real them is gonna show up in that conversation, because in our community, there's a lot of lying going on about paternity. There's a lot of bullshit going on with parental alienation. There's a lot of one-sided shit. There's a lot of men and women that had children or got pregnant out of situations of just irresponsible sex, and that it was going to be nothing but co-parenting from the time you were conceived. But a lot of women don't want to accept that. There are a lot of men that conceived outside of a relationship with another woman, and so you were born out of some shit that was not love. But she ain't going to tell you that. She's going to tell you the man abandoned y'all, but really he wasn't fucking with her. And if he wasn't fucking with her, oh, how he can't fuck with you. It's a lot of y'all, when you go to ask this or make this statement that, hey, you know what? I'm at a space in my life where I want to talk to my dad and get his viewpoint. I want to talk to my dad's side of the family if he's no longer living, right? I want to speak to my paternal grandmother or my paternal aunties and uncles, cousins, and get an idea of an outside perspective or a different perspective on what happened. Yeah, I called to ask your dad. Right? A lot of y'all will get the fuck slapped out of you if you try to present the idea of ask your dad. Some of y'all, if you live with your mom, she's probably going to kick you out if you tell her you want to ask your dad. And that, sir or ma'am, is a sure way to know that it's some bullshit going on. If you have to emotionally manipulate me with anger and negative feelings and all of your viewpoint, right? For me to not develop my own view outside of you, this is trauma. You're not a good parent. I don't give a fuck how many pairs of Jordans or how many Christmases you bought all the stuff. A healthy adult, an adult that's able to be at peace mentally, is able to confront things from childhood, get an understanding, develop their own perspective, exist outside of their mother and father as an individual being. Children are not some sort of extension of you only. They are an individual person that will need to lean on their own mind and their own mental peace and their own sense of confidence and self-awareness, right? At some point. And so when you raise them to only connect with your emotions, when you raise them to only be tolerated by you, right? It becomes a fucking problem. Life becomes a problem. The idea is, it has nothing to do with, and I'm glad somebody said that. Somebody said, having respect for elders is biblical and righteous, right? What in anything that I said has to do with disrespect? But if you're an elder that wants to manipulate the younger generation to never look at you for what you really are, you will turn it into a conversation of respect or disrespect. It's the oldest trick in the book. That's where your grandma or your mama and them use that Bible verse that you're going to die early if you don't respect or obey them, right? There's also parts in the Bible that explain, right, about not antagonizing or fucking poking or doing intentional harm to your child. There is also parts in the Bible that talk about mental health and things that y'all skip over and go straight to a disrespect or a respect. Disrespect and respect comes from a space of how you perceive it, your mindset. So if you grew up in a certain era, that took everything as disrespect. Say anything back. Disrespect. Anything. I've witnessed as a child and as an adult, adults whooping a child's ass because the child pointed out something that was true and it had nothing to do with respect or disrespect. I've seen kids get a whooping for something they did not do, right? And when the adult found out that they whooped the child in an unjust manner, meaning you beat this child ass thinking that they broke your vase, but they really wasn't the one that broke it, right? Never went back and apologized. And if the child, right, spoke up, no, I teach, right? And I teach with emphasis. You're hurt and you want me to get off of here from teaching these people this real shit. You want to come on here with the Bible and try to scare us into living in our truth, which is what a lot of older people that I'm talking about, this is what they do. They make you believe that if you say, Grandma, you whooped him, but he didn't break that vase. Sit your ass down. Don't talk back to me. That's why you ask him, you honor thy father and thy mother. You need to respect your elders or your days going to be short. So now the baby going to die because they pointed out that your ass did something wrong. At what point as elders do you guys become accountable for your lack of, right? For your inability to see yourself for what the fuck you are. No, I ain't that. You won't come on here and try to use the Bible as a way to manipulate me because I've been in the word myself and I understand other religions as well. From the Quran to you, I could go on and on, but I won't even take it. I would tell you this. Try that on somebody else's video. It doesn't work over here. That slave mentality where let me take y'all back, right? When you don't understand your beliefs, even your religious beliefs for yourself, meaning you go get in the word yourself outside of what your mama or your grandmother or your granddaddy taught you, right? When you don't educate and have a sense of understanding for yourself, you will forever be manipulated. You will forever be controlled. You will forever be ran by their beliefs. And it's a lot of y'all, especially in our community, you can't speak up about things that were done to you. When you look at elders, right? It's a lot of y'all that a lot of your trauma lies in the fact that these same elders that fed and clothed you were unwilling to acknowledge that they let you stay alone with Uncle so-and-so or stepdaddy so-and-so and you got molested or raped. And when you brought it up, that same mama that's bringing up the Bible and Jesus and what verses say you're supposed to follow them and listen to what they say, they don't got no words for that. Ain't no assertiveness, there's not a loudness, there's not a show up and show out for you in that when it's the people that they had you around. Because as a child, you're around whoever the adults, the caregivers to you allow you to be around. This is why you have to get in a community where there are people like me that are willing to break the generational curses, right? That are willing to help put you in a space where it's not about revenge. It's not about being angry. It's not about sitting in a space of pity or feeling like a victim. It's about awareness. It's about being real. And this is why this shit is important. In order for you to have a place of peace as an adult, I have to be able to be real with myself about the things that happen to me. And if I have caregivers or parents that are not allowing me to even accept my own view, right? Let alone say it to them, I cannot exist in a peaceful mental space. And this is why a lot of us, we are in the rat race, right? We never fully check on ourselves or see about ourselves. We just get up, go to work, raise kids. Get up, go to work, raise kids. We in the habitual behavior, of this. And it just becomes a routine. And when you look up, 1 year has passed, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years has passed, and nothing in your life is what you want it to be. Now you handling your responsibilities. So you ain't fold, right? But you a workhorse. You ain't fold, but you ain't taking care of self. You exist, you here, but you very much depressed. You have your moments where you cope with the depression through comedy or going out or buying yourself stuff, but you emotionally eat or you emotionally shop or you choose people strictly off of emotion and ignore reality because the beliefs that were programmed into you by your elders is such. Ignore the reality and just believe with all your heart and mind that everything that mom and dad did was for the best. Some of that stuff was not for the best. Some of that stuff was because whatever they were going through at the time. Some of y'all live places not because it was for the best, but because this is all we had based on the poor choices that mom and dad made at this season in their life. Some of y'all, you were exposed to certain people that weren't good people. And it wasn't because was for the best. It was because my mama was coming off a relationship and this is all she had to lean on in regards to supporting us. I did a one-on-one yesterday and I love that the young lady, she was able to articulate this, right? But she was able to express and understand that from her childhood, there was a point where her mom picked her dad, right? Her mom got multiple kids, multiple baby daddies. Her dad, the person I was on the phone speaking with, she was saying that her dad was financially stable. He had certain things going on that it was a safe space, stability-wise, right? It was a safe space, stability-wise, for a woman with multiple children. And so she was able to articulate that my mom didn't even like him. I've had conversations with my mom and she explained she was not attracted to my dad in that way. But she was willing to fake the attraction, go along with, sacrifice, if that's what you want to call it, any of that to land us in a space where she could get the bills paid and a roof over our head and all of us be able to be housed, right? And so for a lack of resources with that mother, it made sense at that time. But now a lot of different shit occurred because of this decision. Shit that was not good for the children. Stuff that created a rift in the children that is now carrying with them as adults, which is why this young lady was having a one-on-one with me, right? It wasn't for the best. It was a survival decision based on the mom's life being fucked up at that time. A lack of sexual discipline, lack of resources, lack of her own family probably being able to be a support system to her. It was not for the best. And when you lie to yourself and you go along with this belief that mama did that for the best, then you grow up and you make decisions like that thinking that they are for the best, and they're not. They're not. This is real adult communication. This is grown folk conversation. This is the shit that y'all elders ain't gonna tell y'all. That's why I said I was gonna come on here and kick y'all some free game that a lot of people need to hear. It has nothing to do with anger. It has nothing to do with me being hurt. I'm passionate about people knowing the truth, especially my people. Because for a lot of us, we don't get told this. We don't get told from a real woman perspective. Listen, you can be mad. Some of this stuff might have hurt you. This is me as your elder showing you that I accept if when I'm done talking, you don't agree or you don't like what I say, right? So you can agree, you can disagree. You don't have to accept this, right? But at that time, when I moved y'all here, when I changed the school to this, when I had y'all around so-and-so, it seemed like it was what's best based on what was going on in my life. And I made that decision. I'm willing to stand on that decision. And that's that. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it was the right decision or that it is what you should repeat in your life. Because a lot of shit I did, you probably shouldn't repeat or do with your children. This is the realness we need from our elders instead of saying, listen, I did the best I could. The Bible say that you got to listen to your elders. So don't question nothing I'm saying. Now go out in the world. Figure it out. I ain't do nothing wrong. I ain't finna let you judge me. I ain't gonna let you guilt trip me. Going out. And why do you think we're repeating the same cycles? Why do you think there are so many baby showers? And if you ask where the daddy is, the girl gonna cuss you out? Because they've been programmed to believe that this is some sort of good thing. They've been programmed to believe, right? That this is some sort of shit that should be ongoing. Because you got women saying, ain't nothing wrong with raising your kids by yourself, but the product of children being raised by one parent is not good, especially when it's just a woman. Children need both parents for a sense of well-roundedness. Children need this. And anybody that will sit up here and tell y'all that children don't need both parents, they a fool. They're a fool. Children deserve both parents. Children deserve to have a sense of, here is where I come from, right? Here are the good and bad points about my mom. Here are the good and bad points about my dad. Here are the lessons that I've learned from my mother. And here are the lessons I've learned from my dad. And I ain't talking about the lessons that they tell y'all as a parent that makes them look good. I'm talking about the lessons from watching their actions, the lessons from watching their words. Every choice your mama made was not the choice that was best for you, right? A lot of that shit had to do with her emotions. And because nobody told you this is why you make a bunch of decisions for you and your kids based on emotions. And then you get upset when someone tries to offer you any other viewpoint. A lot of y'all, you were manipulated and controlled with religion and the Bible and certain beliefs of the elders because we get it from slavery. If you understand what I'm explaining, you go all the way back to slave days. They wouldn't allow us to read, and they picked a particular black person, had them become a preacher, right, or a minister, and they were to tell us what the Bible said. We couldn't read the words, right? They telling us, right? And so they read us the parts where it talked about being a good slave and honoring your slave master. And so when you see people on here like the person that keep typing about the Bible, right? When you see people on here like that trying to shove just that one concept, that one philosophy, that one verse out the Bible down your throat, you very much look like a fucking pawn for slave masters, right? You want to read me the one part where it talks about slaves and obeying your master and not running away. This is to control us. This is to not allow us to be free thinkers, right? If you give a man a fish, you feed them for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, if you teach a motherfucker how to work their mind, if you raise your children, if you were raised from a space where you were taught how to go in your mind, right, and really conclude some shit, come up with your own philosophies, process what you're seeing, what you're feeling, right, versus the way the world works, and create a sense of here is how I want to behave, you become a dangerous motherfucker to those that are trying to just control. See, what I do on this motherfucker is I educate, right? I give you the game to open yourself up, to wake up that second heartbeat, to not just be some sort of slave to other people's philosophies, but to take what is positive, what is growth for you, and apply that to your life and elevate. People that don't want you educated, right? You gotta just listen to what I'm saying. People that don't want you educated, they want to be able to control you. When you meet people that they have a problem with platforms like mine, all I talk about is accountability, children having both parents, people reading, being self-empowered, meaning believing that you are in control of your life and that the way your life looks, right, is a reflection of your choices 1 to 3 years prior and your generational curses. I teach self-worth, right? If you meet somebody that they against my teachings, bruh, run from them. Run from them. Ain't nothing good gonna come from dealing with them. This is why I tell y'all, if you follow me, play some of my content out loud around people. If that nigga get the fuck from around you or tell you to turn me off, if that bitch tell you to turn me off, something ain't right about what they got going on. Because who can disagree that children are supposed to have both parents? Who can disagree that everybody should be accountable and be able to take a straightening? Who could disagree that everybody's allowed to have their own perspective? Who can disagree that you are supposed to feel and believe that you're in control of your life? Who can disagree that we are all capable and able to change anything that's going on in our life for the better? Who could disagree? Who? A motherfucker that's trying to manipulate, somebody that wants you to stay asleep, somebody that they are in their own bullshit and feel judged by the mental progress or the growth of those around them. You got to really understand, like when you see somebody like me talk, that's exactly what I do. right? I trigger demons out people's life, right? I trigger people to confront their own demons. It's some of y'all, you've admitted on social media, when you first seen me, you blocked me. You got upset. You ain't like the vulgar language. You blocked me. And then when you went through some shit in your life or somebody played a certain video where that content hit, you circled your ass back around, unblocked me, and you got back up in this motherfucker. And that's why you're still here. Because I don't let up. 7, 8 years, same topics every time, hit the same every time. Never been inconsistent, never contradicted, never changed up on what I'm talking about, and never will, because it's fact, it's science, it's psychology. It's what all of us deserve to have mentally. Listen, make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, hit the bell so you can be notified when I go live again, because I'm only really going live on YouTube from now on. So get this channel jumping. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm on this hoe. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. Book club. I will see y'all next Sunday. We about to get into this book. This motherfucker is therapy. And y'all know what I'm talking about if you've been reading it.